and welcome to Boozy Book Reports, a simple podcast where we revisit childhood classics whilst drinking copious amounts of alcohol. We're your hosts, Beth
and Sam.
And tonight we're reporting on
Meet Samantha.
An American Girl tale.
Really highbrow literature. If that's what you're here for, we have it for you.
Yeah. These are classics, though. These are modern classics.
Yes.
With really, really great, swag.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have an American Girl doll? Those were for rich people.
Yeah, I was gonna say there was the implicit bitch came out. I'm like, no, we couldn't afford that shit. Yeah. No, but I did have a bunny that I found could fit doll's clothes and like a stuffed bunny, and so I made it a house, and I would put clothes on it and pretend it was my American Girl doll because I was I was a poor.
Yeah. I feel like American Girl dolls, I mean, they've been around forever. They've been around since like the 80s, right?
Yeah.
They weren't where I was. Like, I think I wanted a Cabbage Patch, but I never wanted one of these.
So I did know one person who had them. And I think this basically says the woman who my mom cleaned houses for, her kids had American Girl dolls. So I had to clean their American Girl doll shit.
Wow. Life
as like
is
a middle schooler.
Imitating art in this book.
I was a Nelly, not a Samantha, despite my name. I was a Samantha a Nelly that some rich lady let go to a nice school. That's how I made it.
Oh my gosh. Well,
that's really it, honestly.
That takes on a whole new thing. With this. Okay. So what did you make us? You have some really pretty drinks today.
Yeah. So I wanted to pick two cocktails today that were actually kind of pseudo rooted in history. So this book takes place in 1904, which is during the Edwardian era. And so that's there are Edwardian cocktails. And so that's what I'm going to present. But a lot of the cocktails we know actually came a little bit later because you were trying to, hide shitty bathtub gin and rot gut booze.
Yes.
So
makes sense.
Yeah. So things like the Savoy cocktail book were actually published in, I think for the first time in like 1930 when I looked. I have a copy of it. But anyway, I wanted to pick things that were actually sort of available at this time. And so the first one that I'm going to present today is a traditional daiquiri. And so
Okay.
You think of daiquiri as like the strawberry slushy with rum in it. But the original daiquiri can trace its roots back to about 1901 in Cuba. And it's similar to things that like sailors would drink on boats to avoid scurvy. But it was a cocktail that was.
So what's in this?
It's lime juice. Fresh. I got fresh squeezed lime.
Nice.
Lime juice, sugar, a little bit of like simple syrup, and rum.
Oh, okay.
It's really straightforward.
Yeah. No frills. I like it. It's tart.
It is tart. This one's a little tart. This is one of my husband's favorite drinks that I make.
It's super refreshing.
Yeah. Porch pounder.
Yeah.
This is a porch pounder.
Yeah.
And the problem is that they will get you friggin' turnt.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great.
They're
Bring
really
it on.
good.
Very cool.
And then the second drink I made is just a classic champagne cocktail. And so champagne cocktails are thought to be around since the mid 1800s. But a champagne cocktail is you basically douse some sugar cube in bitters. And so I used sassafras and molasses bitters. And then you put the champagne on top of it. So
yummy.
It's so good.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong.
You can't go. I love a champagne. I like Prosecco, but same difference.
Yeah, this is actually sparkling wine champenois in the champenois method because it's from Trevery.
Oh, I don't know.
So you do a second fermentation in the bottle. It's not carbonated. That's why the bubbles are really like tiny on this one.
Oh!
I'm not a member of. I am a member of that winery that you have these from. Well, they're really good.
Sam was like, "Oh, do you have champagne?" I was like, "I actually do," because I've been trying to keep it on ice.
Yeah,
for when.
Moments like this.
And I was like, I think it's a crappy bottle. And she's like, no, idiot. No. She didn't say that, but
it's not a crappy bottle. It's a very it's a very cost effective bottle, but it's quite good. Yeah. I really like it. We definitely buy this same bottle. And like I said, we're members of this winery.
I really like the bubble size. I'm a bubble size connoisseur.
Well, we have been to brunch there. That's where we went to brunch.
We went to brunch in a little like hut. because
they
it was
had bubbles.
COVID-y time. Yeah.
Their bubbles is what they called it. It was very fancy.
It was super nice.
Yeah.
It was one of our first like get outs after like the lockdowns.
Yeah. and it was like a nice little private thing.
Yeah, it was really fun. Loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it. Okay, so we're going to get into this book now. So we're going to start with the back of the book.
Samantha Parkington is an orphan who lives with her rich grandmother in 1904. There are many servants in Grand Mary's busy, bustling household, but there's no one for Samantha to play with. That's why she's so excited when Nellie moves in next door. Nellie has come to work so that she can send money back to her family in the city. Even though their lives are different, the two girls become good friends. One day, Samantha discovers that Jessie, the seamstress, is leaving. No one will tell her why. So she and Nellie plan a secret midnight adventure to find out.
Wow. It's straightforward. And it's literally the entire story.
That's most of the book. So anyway, what are you rating? No.
So this book came out in 1986, which I was kind of surprised it's so vintage.
Yeah, I guess I didn't know that they were so old.
Yeah, and it's the first in the series of Samantha. So these books, there's several in each girl's life.
So I actually do have a story about the second one,
okay.
which is Samantha Learns a Lesson.
Mm-hmm.
My mom sent me to the Scholastic Book Fair to buy Charlotte's Web. I was supposed to buy Charlotte's Web. I gave zero shits about a pig.
Yeah.
But we should actually maybe do that book.
Yeah.
But I gave so few shits about that pig. And especially, I'm not a big spider person, as Beth well knows. I do not like a spider. And so I was like, no, I do not want to buy this. And instead, I saw the cool girl with her cute outfit on the front of the book.
Like,
and I bought that instead. And I got in so much trouble.
But was it worth it?
Oh, yeah. I love that book. It was great.
Good.
Yeah.
Love
and then
you.
I kind of treasured it because I was like, yeah, I'm a rebel.
I love that. That's amazing.
I bought a well-dressed Victorian lady as my rebellion.
I mean, it tracks for you. I don't ever think I had a book rebellion like that.
Oh, but like, I think Go Ask Alice was a bit like I read books I wasn't supposed to read.
Absolutely. I didn't have a book rebellion like where I bought a book I wasn't supposed to buy.
I was just like, no, Mom, you're not my real boss with this money that you gave me that is yours.
Well, I have to say this book, because I was given the black version, Addie, I think.
Addie, yeah. Oh, I loved them all.
I didn't get Addie until, I think my aunt bought me that when I was in I was like 19 or something, or 16.
Yeah.
So I kept them just because my aunt had given them to me, but I never really read them because they were kind of like, I was into boys and
you were like a little older at this point.
16 was just not the age. But so I'd never read any of these books before. And the Samantha one, I really enjoyed it.
Did you?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I found myself smiling when I read it. And I just have to say, this is one of our only books I think we've done that doesn't have a real trigger warning or...
No, it's definitely age appropriate. And then I think it's age appropriate and the messages are pretty like positive.
Yeah, and just
she's a bit oblivious at times, but that's just because she's a rich girl. She don't know.
And a little kid too.
Yeah, exactly. She's a bit oblivious.
Yes. So it starts off, she's this granddaughter that's been orphaned of this wealthy Virginia lady in 1904. And so she like is climbing a tree or something and falls out of the tree, which again, ladies didn't climb trees.
No,
it definitely is not good. She rips open her tights and she has a little neighbor that's just the nastiest little boy.
Kind of a little shit.
Yeah, he's awful.
No, he's not fun.
No.
Yeah, and he like threatens, but she gets him. She like threatens him and like she hits him where he lives.
Oh yeah, like right back. I love that.
She's spunky.
So she decides she needs to have her tights so darned. I don't know. Do you only darn socks or do you darn stockings too?
I think you can darn tights because like darning is that's where you do the weave.
Oh, that's what it is?
Yeah. Yeah, you make like a weave.
I thought it just meant I'm sewing the hole in my sock up.
But that's how you do it is you like make
a little patch.
Make a little patch basically. Yeah. There's if you on Reddit, there's Visible Mending.
Oh.
Is a subreddit.
Okay.
And it's fascinating. It's like
nice.
clever ways people have fixed or like have made like rainbow weaves or something where like the mending in itself is like becomes part of the character of the object.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's very like, it's like that Japanese thing where they put the gold in the crack to like make it stand out. It's a little like that, but visible mending on Reddit is fascinating.
Well, she runs to her personal in-house seamstress, Jessie.
Yes.
Jessie's a black lady.
Yes. Which I don't think registered with me. I just thought Jessie was very tan when I read this. I was very young and I also was not very worldly.
Got it.
And it didn't really hit me until like I got older. I was like, oh.
Yeah. But Jessie was a black lady. Samantha really liked her. Yeah. And Jessie would tell her stories and she said, and Samantha's like, these stories were made of magic. And I put black girl magic in the so of course.
That's cute.
And it was like from New Orleans. And so it was just like, oh, that's amazing. And they spent a lot of time on the fact that there was ants in Jessie's room with a cookie.
Okay, this I wrote, you're kind of an asshole. Because like, if anybody's had like an ant invasion, we couldn't even keep, when we lived in LA, we couldn't even keep our honey out. We had to put it in the fridge.
Oh my
because
gosh.
the ants were so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a little cookie on the floor and Samantha sees like 2 cookies. Or two ants and then more.
Ooh, it's coming.
And then after
what a fun experiment. Home invasion.
Later in the chapter, Jessie's like running down trying to get black pepper to like, oh, I have ants. I'm just like, thank you, Samantha. But
you little turd, you could have nipped this shit in the bud.
Absolutely. Well, oh my gosh. So the next scene really got me because it's where not Jessie, where the Grand Mary's having Miss Samantha crochet or cross stitch. Yes.
Yeah, a sampler,
which I was just like, it was a different era, man, where people, you know what I mean? But like needlepoint was like a thing for women of the upper echelon.
Yes.
And it's just weird to think about like that being a legit hobby for like young girls, because you just don't see that as much anymore.
Yeah. I actually wrote down in the corner sewing as a hobby versus a career, because I did think there was a juxtaposition between Jessie, who like has to do this, versus this like supposedly leisurely activity for women.
Yeah. But that's a great comment. I'm so proud of your smarts.
Thank you.
Your brain works so good.
The fine literary analysis on Meet Samantha, an American Girl book. But no, I mean, people still do this, right? Like knitting circles.
Yeah.
I watched, there's a British show called Hobby Man, and it's like comedians doing stuff. And they went and up to like, I think they went up somewhere in Scotland, and they went up to these like knitting circles and visited them. I mean, people still kind of do this.
Well, and there was, do you remember, like, I think it was like the early 2000s, Stitch and Bitch. There was like a big movement towards like getting back together and like, getting with your girlfriends and stitching and bitching.
Well, and doing like a hobby alongside. Did you ever did you ever do the weaving on like a styrofoam meat tray?
No, I did not.
It was like part of our Colorado like indigenous peoples lesson was like weaving. It's hard. You can't do it, you little like entitled children. But you would just take like yarn and you cut little slots in the top and the bottom of the meat tray. And then you make you take your yarn and you run a little S, and then that gives you the like the warp and the weft. No, it gives you the one of the things, and then you run your yarn up and over, and you can get little pieces. Like I made myself like a little purse.
Oh,
yeah,
you're so fancy.
I know. I
love that for you. You still have it?
It's probably in my mom's house.
Okay,
yeah, it's
maybe
probably
it might be worth digging out and bringing it back and using it. I would love to see you with a baby purse you made in 4th grade.
I don't even think my phone would like fit in it. It would like topple out.
Well, tiny purses were really hot 2 years ago, so they'll come back. You know,
I'll send it to Lizzo,
like Lizzo at the Grammys.
It's like got a braided, like it's ridiculous. I'll ask my mom if she still has it.
So whilst Grandma is kind of like getting at Sam, it's hard for me to say Samantha because you're sitting right here. I just want to keep saying
you can
Sam.
say Samantha.
Samantha.
Only her uncle calls her Sam.
That's true.
Spicy uncle with the hot feminist girlfriend.
I mean, I love it. But she's like kind of getting after her for doing her little sampler. And then Samantha's very much like, well, I want a doll. I saw a beautiful doll. And the grandma's like, listen, that costs a lot of money. And Samantha's like, I can work for it. And she's like, a lady does not work.
So I wrote two things at this.
Yes.
One, $6 in 1904 is about $200 now.
Oh my
so that's about a
gosh.
$200 doll.
Okay. Dang.
Just for the record. Two, shameless product placement.
I mean,
Fucking American Girl. They're like, wouldn't it be great if you had a rich doll? Wink, wink.
I'm an idiot. Like, I didn't even catch that. I'm just like, yeah, I need a doll. Like, I'm the target market. I need the doll. And you know what? I think I need an outfit. And maybe a matching outfit for me.
And a little bed.
And a bed. And a whole play area.
Did you ever watch, there's a Conan O'Brien where he goes to the American Girl?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
He like freaks out during the dinner. Anyway.
It's a lot.
Okay.
Okay.
And two, the other comment I wrote was like, Grand Mary says, there are other ways, my dear, to reach your goals. What? Marriage?
Yes.
Come on.
Yes, she's already promised to the next door neighbor, the little boy.
Oh my God. She probably would marry the next door neighbor boy.
What else? Who else are you going to go?
She's going to go to a ball.
I love how you said the Cornelia, the uncle's feminist.
Hot, spicy feminist girlfriend.
She says, she quotes her. She's like, Cornelia says a woman should be able to earn money. And then she says women shouldn't have to depend on a man for anything or a man for anything. And I'm like, yes.
Icon.
Yes. And this is 86. I'm proud. Like, this is amazing. What? Why are you looking at me like that?
I mean, yeah.
86 was like, okay, working, but I mean, still.
I feel like it was understood in 1986 that women could earn their own money. Though when did it end that you couldn't like take it? You had to get like a husband's permission for credit cards. It was like the 70s.
The late 70s.
Okay.
So we're not too far out from this. And I feel like
I take it for granted because like in my life, again, I think maybe this is a problem, but yeah, take it for granted that that's just the way it is.
Women could work at this time. I mean, not this time, in 1986.
To support your family, to bring it home.
But I think I just like that these ideals were like being like pushed forward still. Anyway, so Samantha just is like, I'm going to be the best person ever. Yeah. I'm going to do everything you ask me. I'm going to practice the piano an hour a day.
Yeah.
Without stopping. I'm not going to complain.
But I still will shit all over Eddie Ryland's dumb face.
Exactly.
It's too far. You ask too much, grandmother.
But shortly after, her uncle comes. Uncle Gard.
Gardener.
And has a motor car.
No, a motor car.
A motor car.
A horse-drawn carriage.
And he's
or
like,
a non-horse-drawn carriage.
I think this was a crank one too. At some point, they're like, let's crank it. And I'm like, okay. Fun fact, my grandpa's first car, my grandpa was born in 1918. He's still with us. And his first car was a crank car where you had a little crank and you would wind it up. I don't know, the mechanics don't come after me, but wow.
Yeah.
Like, can't imagine.
Time.
A very different time.
I can't even, I'll be honest, really drive a stick.
Oh, I
let
can't
alone.
Either.
Okay.
Somebody's like, I hate it too when I tell people that, I can't drive manual. They're like, oh, what's going to happen if it's the only car you have? I'm like, I guess I'm going to put it in a gear and go slow.
Blow that transmission like a motherfucker.
Yeah. Also, if we're in that situation, I'm already dead. Let's be real.
Is true. I actually, in grad school, our department admin took us out to the Rose Bowl parking lot and was like, it was like, if shit goes down and you need to drive my car, you need to know how to drive a stick. So she like taught us how. So I learned from my department admin in graduate school. She's who taught me how to drive a stick. So like I can do it in an emergency, but like when I went to Sweden and I was the only one of 5 people with a functioning driver's license that I could actually use. Like 2 of them didn't have driver's license. One had let his expire. One's driver's license was from Bolivia, so it wasn't like part of the what's it called? It's all the like treaties about driving. And so I was the only one that could drive, so I had to drive. And I told them, I was like, well, you're going to have to pay extra because I'm an American and I can't drive a stick. They were like, fine, it's fine. We'll pay for that. So yeah, I drove around. It's
that's
a
cool.
part of Sweden.
Fun experience. Well, but did you wear driving clothing? Because they did.
I wore my goggles, my Swedish goggles from IKEA. They're Googleish.
Oh my gosh.
No, I can't even do a fake. I don't even know how I can do a fake Swedish.
No.
Klarna.
I do kind of like the idea of like clothes for tasks, because I've kind of fallen into like everything's just casual wear or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, you have a driving jacket and driving gloves.
Duster.
A duster is really cool.
But like it's so different than now, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
if you drive now, you're in like a climate controlled cabin. Everything is like very geared towards comfort.
Yeah.
Here, you're like out in the elements.
Yeah.
Like I was mad because there's a picture on page 17 that like Gardner got goggles and they just left poor Cornelia's eyes to like suffer.
Just have them closed.
Yeah.
Just
Don't look.
bugs and grit.
Oh, it's wonderful, Guard. I love it.
And and Uncle Guard, I feel like everybody needs a cool uncle. I have one cool uncle like that was really like
The Funkle.
Yes.
Yep.
So cool. So fun. And he made me think of him and just how he's like, let's go for a drive. And they're like, oh, I don't have a duster. And they're like, we'll make it work.
We'll
like,
throw you in this
fine.
oversized coat. You will be fine. The
Yes.
bugs will not get on your dress.
Not at all. And so she goes for a little ride. I think the next door neighbor is a little bit jealous. And
then she's like, just suck it, Eddie Ryland. You're the worst.
Yeah. And he is actually. And then, big things happen in the next chapter.
Big things.
Because there's a tunnel between like the hedges between the 2 yards of Eddie and Samantha. And she goes over there. Did she find the girl in the tunnel? I can't remember. Yes.
No, she doesn't find the girl in the tunnel. The girl's working.
Oh,
Nellie's
that's
like
right.
hanging laundry.
Oh, that's right. So at the Rylands house, there's a little girl hanging clothes on a clothesline.
Yes.
Doing laundry. And Samantha sees her and is like, oh, let me help you. And Nellie's like, oh, please don't, ma'am.
I'm going to get in trouble.
Yeah. Which, again, a 9-year-old girl as your house servant, for lack of a better word, because that's what they treat her as.
This is an upgrade for her from the textile lung she was getting at the factory.
It's so sad and it's so close. Like, I think about the 9-year-old kids I know and them working in a factory. It's like, no.
Yeah. Child labor, baby.
Yeah. And Nellie's so cute. She's like, yes, miss. Like, just so.
So I guess thinking about 1986, like I am so happy in this point because like Samantha she's oblivious, but she's also like, she's that friend that's like doesn't really get that there's a difference and just is like, they're not the person that says like, I can't see color. They just literally don't see it.
Yeah.
They're not like trying to be
woke.
Yeah. They're just like, I don't see the fucking problem.
Yeah.
And that's exactly, Samantha's just like, okay, so you have to hang laundry. I'll help you hang laundry. And then we can like eat cookies in the tunnel, right?
Yeah.
She's so clueless. There's no like Nellie is poor. Nellie is, she's just like, just oblivious. At one point, she just talks about how wild it is that because she couldn't even imagine that there would be like her parents, that Nellie's parents would like send her to go do work.
Yeah.
God bless Samantha.
Yes. So sweet, so innocent. But also I think through this book, she does see, like her eyes open very quickly.
Yes.
And I really appreciated that. I think it's so funny, not funny, but so the Rylands, they pay this little girl $1 a week, her family $1 a week.
Well, so
that's kind of a lot if
it's like $36 a week.
That seems like a lot for that time.
Yeah. So the doll is, for reference, the doll is $6.
Yeah.
So this is a month and a half of labor to buy Samantha's toy.
Gosh. We're living in this dystopia today, so I can't really be like, oh.
Yeah. No. But just like for context, that's like where we're at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the candid conversation they have about they're in the tunnel and Nellie sharing about her life, about like coughing and how the air was and the quality of life she had and like the fact that she had never been to school. And I feel like Samantha had a crash course in like
equity.
Yeah. Like her eyes were open real quick.
Class warfare. She's like, what? No, this is terrible that you have to hang laundry. She's like, no. I was literally breathing in like asbestos 2 weeks ago. This is such an improvement.
So they become fast friends and they're going to make a telephone and they plans to hang out. And then, the very next chapter, another big change.
Yep.
Yeah.
They go quick. This book goes quick.
Yes.
You got 20 minutes on a work break in your factory. Bang out this book.
So Samantha is going to see her grandmère and she notices that Jessie is in her outfit, her clothing to go home. And Jessie starts saying goodbye to everyone. And Samantha's like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
Why are you leaving? And nobody's telling her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone hides it from her. And
Yes.
so she's like upset and confused.
I mean, she's very upset. Like clearly they were close friends.
Yeah. Yeah. And nobody will tell her.
She even goes to the butler, which the fact that they have a seamstress and a butler and a maid, I'm like,
It's very Downton Abbey.
yes. I'm not joking though. What I would give in my life to have a butler. Somebody that is like my house manager that just took care of everything and like, okay, the appointment's been made for the oil change and you need to do this and the filters need to be changed. I already hired the handy person. Like, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Like a
house manager. Yeah, just a house manager.
It's kind of what Google's becoming for me, but yeah. No, this is like people talk about how this often gets put on women, but the mental sort of like the mental cost of like organizing everything and making sure that like everything is running smoothly and planning meals and doing all that stuff. It is a huge thing.
It's
like
a huge
just
thing.
Having somebody organize your life is like
amazing.
Yeah. There's a Kevin when he doesn't teach, when my husband doesn't teach in the summer, sometimes he like, he takes care of like, oh, we got to take the cats in for an appointment. We got to do all this stuff. And it is just so nice.
Oh my gosh.
To like trade it off for like a couple weeks.
Oh yeah.
Because when he's teaching, he can't take any time off. So I'm the one that does all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so we do exchange. But I'm like, man, I can really think about like, yeah, I always like wanted to get to the point in a career where I had like an admin because I just wanted to have somebody help me organize my life.
Yeah. Just a personal assistant would be amazing. I think it's nice now that we have VRs or virtual assistants, VAs and stuff.
Even just like some of the apps have made life
so much easier. Yeah. It's rough out there. Okay. Not rough for Samantha though. So Jessie's leaving and then Lydia comes into the picture. Lydia is her beautiful doll that she is given that's in silk dresses. It's pretty much the size of an American Girl doll.
Product placement.
And she's so excited. And so the next morning she takes Lydia into this little tunnel to meet Nellie. And Nellie, it seems like the girl's never had a doll before, never touched a doll.
Yeah, I can relate to this moment as the only people who had one of these was the woman my mom cleaned house for. And we would play with their kids sometimes. So when I was a kid, by a kid, I mean, I was like probably 6th grade through, I think about 9th or 10th grade. My mom worked for this, it was like a sporting clays place. And they lived on top of it was like a big barn dominium sort of thing. Okay. And the house was quite lovely. It was on top of the big sporting clays place. So my mom part of the week would clean the house and the other part of the week would clean the downstairs. And then on the weekend, she'd run the kitchen. And so during the summers or during our time off, we would help with those things. And so like I'd spend my breaks and summers cleaning bathrooms and then like working. I'd do the cashiering because I was the oldest at the sporting club. But anyway, their daughters had American Girl dolls. And I remember the youngest daughter who was like probably 5 years younger than me. I was way too old, but I still remember being like, oh my God, that is like, I wanted one so bad when I was that age. And she would like occasionally let me see it, even though I was like so way too old to be like looking at a doll. And I was just like, oh.
I mean, it makes sense though. I feel like it's like, people going on Etsy and eBay right now and buying their childhood things that they, that they always wanted just to feel like they had it for a minute, Yeah. So I felt about popples, it's just
popples?
Popples.
What's a popple?
Popples, they kind of look like my gosh, I feel so old now.
Oh.
It's like this little animal that then like has a kangaroo pouch that you can like tuck it into and it makes it into like a little ball.
That's cute.
Yeah, they were super cute, but they were like expensive. And so I remember getting one when I was like in, 8 or 9, but I got it at a yard sale. And the pouch was kind of stretched out and it was never, there was something about getting it in the packaging and getting the little insert that had all the other characters that you could circle and love. And so here's Nellie loving on this doll.
Yeah, going to town, not even listening to Sam's woes of Jessie has left and we don't know why.
No. And she's like taking her shoes off and unbuttoning the things and just showering it with love.
Sam is also in the meantime spouting off conspiracy theories. She's like, maybe Jessie has gone to the moon to be the queen of the moon people.
She's like, she's in Hollywood. Yeah. She's back in New Orleans.
She's become a seamstress for kings and queens. And Nellie's like, nah, dog, she having a baby. You never seen a baby before?
Which again, back to Samantha being oblivious. Like
she hasn't. Yeah. She's not seen a baby before.
No. And it's like Jessie would have been 9 months pregnant with a belly. I mean, I know clothing was different and
I know that's what I kept thinking. It was like Jessie, she's just like, Jessie's gained weight. Yeah. Maybe she's eating kings and queens food.
I just think Samantha is one of those is like nose blind. Like just cannot.
Yeah.
Cannot see past her own reality in a very innocent way.
Yeah. I was going to say she's so kind-hearted that she like is oblivious. She's just like, ignores the fact that Jessie's dropped ant cookie is probably like a pregnancy craving. She's just like, oh, see how many ants get on the cookie.
I love right after Nellie's like, yeah, she's having a baby. Then they're trying to say, well, how does that happen? And Nellie's like, well, I heard the stork brings you, but I watched my mom have a baby, watched her, but my mom had a baby and there was no stork involved.
Yeah. No bird showed up to my house and it was some bullshit. Yeah. But do you think about things? Do you ever like have that happen to you where you have a moment where you realize that you had a really naive sort of like take on a situation? Or
all the time?
Yeah.
I think I'm an intelligent person and then I'm constantly being like, I think I might be a moron. Yeah. Like, okay, so this does not relate, but I was like a junior in high school or something and I was in a biology class. Yeah. And there was a girl in the class who I was friends with and some of the boys were like trying to convince her because we watch Jerry Springer at lunch in this like bio teacher's classroom because he didn't care. And so some of us were hanging out and they used to have this ad for the Viper, like car, like protection, whatever. And it was like a hologram snake in the commercial that came out. And so the guys were convincing this girl that the hologram snake was real. And I was trying to like tell her it wasn't and then convince myself it was in front of them. And I was like, ma'am, you're a freaking idiot. Do you think that first of all, there's the technology for a hologram snake to just pop up
and like scare away
a break-in in 1996? That is a no. And then me just being like, don't be stupid. Of course it's not really real. It's this kind of real. Like I just was like, it was really embarrassing. Anyway, but over and over in my life, it happens. Yeah. I just believe people. It's so stupid.
Yes. Oh my God. So I have a great uncle or he's like my mom's cousin. But anyway, his name is Mike and Bobcat Mike is his nickname because he drives a Bobcat. And
I'm sorry, what's a Bobcat?
Like a skidster, like a tractor, little tractor.
Oh, a tractor. Okay.
Get the banjos. Anyway, Bobcat Mike was one of my favorite of my mom's cousins growing up, and he still is wonderful and sweet and kind. But he was missing part of a finger, and he always told us it was because he tried to pet a fox, and the fox bit his finger off. And I believe that into like high school. I mentioned to my dad, we were talking about Mike's finger, and I mentioned to my dad about how Mike had lost his finger with by petting a fox. Yeah. And this is why I think we were watching Mike Rowe's Dirty Jobs, and there was a guy snaking a drain or like with the motorized snakes. And my dad was like, no, he lost it with this. This is how he lost it. And I was like, no, it was the fox.
It was the fox.
My dad was like, what are you? You're a smart girl. What are you doing?
It's that
Yeah.
kind heart. I'm
I
telling
know.
you.
Though I have to admit, I did the same thing to my husband. I convinced him momentarily, and by momentarily, I mean for several weeks, that a jackalope was real.
A jackalope? What's a jackalope?
It's maybe a plains thing where a jackrabbit and an antelope have a baby.
Stop.
But if you go to like Colorado School Mines, they even have they have tiles that have biological all the different classes, and the last one is a jackalope.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, yeah, babe, that's why Mines has that tile. And he was like, oh, I guess it is real.
Oh, Kev.
So ask Kevin about the jackalope.
Oh, that's amazing.
He's still mad about it.
That's amazing.
Anyway.
Okay. So Nellie and Samantha, they come up. Well, Samantha comes out with a plan that her and Nellie are going to go find Jesse's house.
Yeah.
Nellie has an idea of where it's at because she had to go to like a pharmacist or something nearby.
Yeah.
And so the girls set out in the middle of the night.
Yes.
In 1904, which I feel like not a smart call. And so they start walking. And again, just dear sweet Samantha. So they're holding hands and they're walking, and the houses are getting less opulent. Is that a word?
Yes,
is that a word?
Opulence.
Opulence.
You own everything.
I really was like going to a show. And so then Nellie's like, oh yes, this is the colored part of town. And I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
This is probably a big shift for Samantha.
I actually had some questions about this because I don't know how, when she talks about the houses being like less fancy than before, is it that they're just less fancy than what she's used to in her like little Newport, Rhode Island, mansion party? Or are we like, is this book, because like, is it playing into like stereotypes that like, the part of town that had more people of color is going to be necessarily run down? Because I don't think I don't think has always been the case. Like Tulsa, Oklahoma was quite beautiful. And
I took it when I was reading it as it just wasn't like the rich area. It was like normal, everyday people.
It was just, And
it was probably closer to where you'd have businesses and housing intermixed more.
Yes.
So it just had a different vibe.
Mixed uses.
Yeah.
Also, though, the drawing is not helping it. It's like a busted fence and a cat.
But I understand because my cat would bust through a fence to try and get somewhere. So
I don't know if we've discussed this, but today my cat stole my egg. My little egg muffin, and I came in and he was going to town, and then he proceeded to vomit it up, and I had to clean up his mistake.
He's so cute though, it doesn't matter.
It mattered for about 5 minutes, and then I kissed him, and then he smelled like barf, and then I was like, never mind.
That's disgusting. So Samantha's like kind of just like, wow, like Jesse has to live here, and why is this? And I really like the fact that the girls were like, what?
Oh, nothing. No,
sorry.
He's just like, girl, you dumb.
Yeah. Well, and I think it was really interesting how the girls were like, well, why did the grownups make it this way? Like, it doesn't make sense to us.
Yeah. I think I would like to see examples of this, but I do like that, like, it seems that Jesse's never treated differently because she is a person of color. It's like she's a seamstress and all that, Samantha loves her and is like so just enamored with her, and Grandmary treats her well and gives her a bonus when she leaves. It does seem, and maybe this is some lovely revisionist history or what, but she is always treated as just another member of the household.
Yeah, which is lovely. Again,
yeah,
nice, refreshing.
Yeah.
So the girls think they find Jesse's house, and so they're trying to peek through the window, and Samantha's like, "I'm stronger," and she's like, "Nellie, get on her back," and they're peeking, and they're just so creepy. but cute because they're kids.
This is a far cry from last month. Where they were creeping and being mean to that one girl.
Yes.
This is like, they're just
want to know nudity
if,
in this one.
Exactly. Is there a baby?
Yes. And so Jesse's husband comes out,
Lincoln,
and they're like, oh, and they're just so excited. They're like, he's laughing at the mess of this.
Yeah.
And so the girls go in and they get to see the baby. And one of the things I love the most is on page 44. It says this: wrapped in the blanket was the tiniest person Samantha had ever seen. His skin was the same fine brown as his mother's. What I love about this is a lot of time in books when they describe Black people's skin, they relate it to food. The mocha skin, the caramel, chocolate love. I freaking hate that. I once saw somebody like kind of break down why that's not a great thing.
Yeah.
I'm not a scholar, so I'm not going to try and do it. But I so appreciated it that they just was like, it was like how you would describe anyone else.
Yeah.
You know, I really loved it. I thought the author did such a good job with that. So yeah, anyway, cute little baby. They named him Nathaniel. And finally now Lincoln's like, okay, girls, I'm going to take you home.
Well, Jesse explains that there's also no maternity care, so she's got to be.
Oh yeah, that's right. She has to stay home because it's not like there's a nanny. Yeah. And so he walks the girls home, and it just was very sweet. And then I was a little nervous for Lincoln though.
Yeah. Same. I was like, oh, Lincoln walking two tiny white girls.
Yeah, like holding their hands and like, ooh, but
it's a lovely, this is a bit of a utopian world other than like there being child labor.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the girls make it home. Samantha sneaks back in. No harm, no foul. And a couple days later, she's like trying to get a hold of Nellie, and they have like the little can with the string. Which did you ever make one of those telephones when you were a kid?
I think we did it with like styrofoam cups.
Okay, I think we tried to, but it didn't.
It's not very effective.
No, I had walkie-talkies, so I was like, I had Kool-Aid walkie-talkies, so it was like, that's what we used.
We had some. I think they came from a garage sale. Yes,
perfect. Yes. Yeah. And so she's trying to reach out to her friend, and Eddie, the little monster, is like, Nellie is going away. And Samantha is like, what the hell? Yeah. He's like, oh, our driver's taking her back to the city because my mom says she's not strong enough to work.
Yeah, that made me really sad. There was a line right after that says, mother says next time we'll get an immigrant woman who can last longer. Yeah. And there was just for me, it was like very frustrating to hear like basically a person treated as chattel. Mother
freaking sucks. Yeah. But in the very next line, it says Samantha wanted nothing more than anything to punch Eddie in the nose. Yeah. I mean, ditto. Yeah. So they're a horrible little family.
They're like, get rid of the tuberculosis girl.
Yeah. Well, now, and Samantha checks on her, like, like, are you sick? Like, what's going on? And they're like,
she just coughs.
Yeah.
And they're worried she's going to get the other kids sick. Yeah. Because she coughs. Because she has, I don't know, mesothelioma.
That's nothing to laugh about.
I just want to say. But she needs to call the hotline. Yes. She's been working just
too much. Much. So Samantha runs home and tells Grandmary. It's such an interesting way to say grandmother. Yeah. And Mr. Hawkins, and they're like, can we do something? She's like, can we do something? Can we send coal? Can we get food? And so they make her a little goodie basket full of delicious foods to take with her. And of course, like she goes back to give the basket of goodies, and then she gives away Lydia.
I know. That was very sweet, but I also the shithead in me was like, girl, hawk that shit. Yeah. That's like 6 weeks of wages for you. Like, right. Enjoy.
Right.
But also it is very kind. It shows like a selflessness. This is the thing that Samantha wanted the most. Mm-hmm. And she like did things she hates doing. Piano. She sewed on her little sampler. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And but it doesn't matter. Yeah. Because she values her friendship that she's built with Nellie and wants her to be happy.
Okay, throw back to another story we read, The Gift of the Magi. Yeah. I love this gift.
This is a good gift.
Because it's like, it's like real sacrifice. Yes. And not phony.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, that story still gets me.
I know. If she had given Nellie her sampler that says actions speak louder than words, that would have been the Magi.
That would have been the Magi. O. Henry gift. Yes. It's like, thank you.
Yes, I don't want this either. But no, it's very sweet.
So and it's really sweet too, because she's like, she's going to be your friend.
Yeah.
And I just, so sweet. And then Samantha's very angry. She's working on her sampler. She is stabbing away at it. She's just in a bad mood.
Yeah.
And then she, like, everybody's like, why are you such a bad mood? That's the vibe. And she's finally like, I know why Jesse left. And it's just like, I read it as so dramatic.
Yeah.
Like, this girl's world is
nobody
coming down.
even told me.
But again, it all works out because she's like, well, can't Jesse just bring Lincoln to sew?
Samantha literally invented maternity.
Yeah.
Like leave and return.
Yeah. She's a pioneer.
But it does seem, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it seems like everybody will be happy to have a baby around. I think, remember that from the later books.
Well, and one of the things interesting too is that she, with the doll and her grandmary, it kind of alluded to like losing it, and she didn't like really cop to it. And then her uncle was the one that said,
Yes.
I know what you really did.
Yeah, that was very, like, I think that was very sweet, because like you can see that sort of play out. Like the grandmother's like, I wanted to teach you the value of $1 and the value of things and the value of work and sacrifice. And you're right. The uncle is like, no, her values are fine.
Yeah.
She did the right thing. It's very sweet.
Yeah. And then I think because of that, she asks if they can continue to help Nellie's family.
Yes.
And they're like, okay, we're gonna work out a plan. End of book. Cliffhanger.
Well, sort of. Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
And they're like, so it ends with them saying that she's a really quite fine young lady.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, that
And
is
gave
true.
her a hug.
I guess I like, well, there's another chapter at the end of this. So
I didn't read ahead because
there's
I was saving it for later.
A sneak peek at Samantha learns a lesson,
Yes.
which is that basically, well, do you want the spoiler?
I guess so. Yeah.
The neighbor family hires all of Nellie's family.
Oh.
And so they come over to be the driver. The dad is the driver and the mom works, I think, in the kitchens. And then Nellie is going to do some chores, but mostly is going to go to school. And Samantha's going to get her caught up on her education and be her tutor.
So cool.
I know.
That's sweet.
Look at her.
Speaking of
Progressive.
education, they have like a little thing on the very back where it just tells about the era.
Love it.
I know you do. It was actually really good. I enjoyed reading it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. This book was great, honestly. This has been one of my favorites that we've read as far as like,
It's a feel good.
Yeah.
It has a message. It's like
I'm not traumatized.
nobody kissed their cousin.
Nobody like there again, no trigger warnings. There's no, I mean, obviously there's some abuse on the side of the Ryland family, but it's not like,
Yeah, she's sort of oblivious to what's going on, but that's the worst that you can, everything is, this is kind of a lovely little world.
So what are you going to rate it?
Oh, God.
I think I'm going to rate it. I'm going high. I'm going to say 5 mended stockings and 2 Lydia dolls.
It's $12 worth of Lydia.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's $400.
I know, one for each of them though. So yeah, it was good. I really liked it. I would, if I had kids, I'd be like, yes, read this book because it's
cute.
It's cute, wholesome, entertaining.
I'm gonna give it 10 out of 10 suffragettes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I like it too. I liked it when I was a kid. This one is like not one that got ruined for me by rereading it as an adult. I was like, this is quite lovely.
I feel like almost every other book we reread is like, ooh.
Yeah. Oh, it
Didn't
turns
age well.
out there was some really weird doctors.
Yeah. No doctor.
No
in this
weird
one. No weird doctor. That's kind of impressive.
Yeah. No, I liked this
good.
one a lot. I'm pro this one.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
So,
are you going to read the rest of the series?
No.
Okay.
I mean, maybe.
It'll take you a grand total of 2 hours.
Exactly. Maybe if I can find it, like I might be able to get it from the library or something. I don't think I would. I don't think I'd invest financially in this one. Maybe just.
Are you going to buy the doll?
No, I don't got American Doll money. Okay. I saw like a TikToker take their daughter to American Doll, the American Girl store.
Yeah.
Sorry. And like, I was just like shook on how expensive it was.
They're very expensive.
And it's like, you can like go to the hair salon and the freaking tea party. I also saw these girls. They were like, I think they were trying to do it ironically, take American Dolls to the tea party room as adults. And it did not play well. They said, they were like, this is the most awkward thing. We thought this would be funny. It is not. We just want to leave. And I was just like, well, just embrace it.
I think that's how the Conan one goes as well, a little bit. It's like it starts funny and then it's like, okay, no, this is probably really cool if you're 6, but like you're an adult man with a doll.
It just is freaking weird.
Put it away. Yeah.
I do have to say, I like the American Girl dolls because they are very inclusive.
Yes.
There's lots of skin tones and I know that they've made some now with different, like, I feel like they have one that has like a hearing aid and this and a that. And I know there's one that has like different abilities and different things. So
there was a point at which I remember like the universe sort of expanded in, the mid 90s when apparently we were like more progressive sometimes than some stuff here now. But I remember they sort of expanded the universe because they had sort of like a modern girl line instead of just the historical ones, and they were all very like inclusive. But then I was like, this is too big a universe to be. But I had read a bunch of these. I was looking at the front. One of my favorite parts is that all of the books have these little like pictures at the beginning, the little cameos.
Oh yeah,
that like show pictures of everybody. But I had read like a lot of them. I read Felicity. I had read Josephina. I had read the Kirsten ones because she's like a Swedish immigrant. That one.
Good.
Oh, no.
It's horrific.
So sad.
Oh.
It's so sad. Somebody gets like, spoiler alert, skip ahead a couple seconds. Somebody gets cholera and dies like on the ship, and it's her best friend, and it is so sad. I remember just being like traumatized by that one. I read Addie, I read Samantha, and then I think Kit came out like late. I think that one was like I hadn't come out, and I read like a couple of Molly's. So I read a lot of these. Did you ever read? There was like sort of one that was for if you were like a little bit older that kind of went with these. That was they were diaries of like girls doing, it was sort of like American Girl dolls, but instead they were like doing diaries of like women or young women in like significant American history periods.
I did not.
Because
I know yes, it makes complete sense.
Yeah. I'm a big old nerd.
I did not say that.
Yeah,
so
you said it with your eyeballs, which is not on a podcast, but just so you know.
By that time, I had moved on to probably like a little bit more risque books.
Well, I mean, like
It's scary.
It was this, and then it was those diaries.
Yeah,
because they had little ribbons like a diary. It was very cool.
Oh.
And then, go ask Alice.
Yeah, next in line.
I was like, wow, button.
Who's got the button? Well, our button for next time is one of my favorite books growing up, and it's called Remember Me. And it's a Christopher Pike book, which have you ever read any Christopher Pike?
No, this one is this what is Christopher Pike right?
It's like kind of like, it's more YA.
Yeah.
And it's very like teenage dramas, but at the teenage level of drinking and this and that. And so he has a whole collection of books that are about people getting murdered and horrible things happening to them.
Classic teen things.
Just teen things. I feel like it's not quite a slasher film, but a lot of those books can be. So yeah,
I've never read this one.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
I haven't read it in years and years. And I was trying to find, like, I know I have a box of old books at my parents' storage or something, but I had a ton of Christopher Pike, like, especially like maybe 7th, 8th grade through like sophomore. I was really into it. And I just remember them being like, I'd read them late at night and they were thrillers. And so it was like a little bit scary. But
then you couldn't sleep.
But they weren't like thrillers like It. I remember I read It once and that was too much. But I didn't read It. That was too scary. I watched the movie. But anyway, they were thrillers, but they weren't too much.
We discussed that I got scared at like a slightly ghosty
Yeah.
Babysitter's Club or like.
I'm really excited for you to read this one. And it is a doozy. So if you want to read along with us, definitely get your book early. It's small printed and it's like 250 pages. So
I got to start early.
I know.
I'm the truant one here. Yeah. Beth's giving me the read your damn book look.
Just plan on reading, 50 pages a week.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm flashing back.
Yes. So anyway, I'm super excited. I really liked this book. I feel very connected to Samantha. I think this is a movie too. They have a Meet Samantha movie.
Mm-hmm. I'll look that up.
Yeah. So I'm kind of excited to venture into American Girl world.
Yeah. In our advanced years.
In our, middle. I'm in my middle years. You are not.
I'm getting there.
You're close, but not quite. You're pre-mid.
Pre-middle.
Maybe that's what they need though. They need this kind of book for us. I wonder if there's a novel series like this style that's
just a feel-good
novel from that are period pieces.
I wanted it to be like today. She'd be and then she went to work and she checked her email. And then she realized that a coworker was being disadvantaged. So she went over and gave her a doll.
Oh my God.
And a sticker that says, "You're doing great."
Oh my gosh. I feel like the gift card to Starbucks is the modern day doll. It's here you are. I heard you're having a hard day. Here's $5.
You don't need a bonus. You need a coffee.
Exactly. Oh gosh.
Hustle and grind.
Hustle and grind.